Hello again, almost 2 years of not making a fully made video that isn't a short, but related to the topics I cover in those shorts, those being power scaling, I was scrolling through YouTube when I came across a video made by a channel that goes by the name of Versus Mode, which on inspection is, dare I say, another Death Battle clone that's fairly new in the making, yet has made some animations in the past 7 months. They started making content. Sounds fancy and all, until you look at the video we're gonna be taking a look at today, titled Samus Aran vs. Doomslayer. After watching that video, there was no way I could let their video filled with misinformation slide, so let's jump right in.
Humanity is but a flash of light from a lone star. The life of a single person should be lost in space and time. But among the stars, there is one light that burns brighter than all others. The light of Samus Aran. Her battles extend beyond her life and etch themselves into history. A hero of few words, but a fearsome warrior nonetheless. Her victories are just a twinkle of a star, and her conquests become the light of hope through the dark quiet of space. She braves the dreadful vastness of the cosmos, hunting down enemy forces to balance the galactic scales of good and evil. Our first challenger tonight is Samus Aran. She stands 6'3" and weighs 198 pounds. Born on the distant planet of K2L, Samus's once peaceful life took a tragic turn when she witnessed her home and family destroyed by ruthless space pirates and their leader Ridley. Orphaned and left with a burning desire for revenge, she was adopted by the Chozo, an ancient alien race who took her to their home planet of Zebes. It was there where Samus was raised and trained to become the fearless warrior she is. The Chozo gifted her with genetic enhancements, advanced technology, and the iconic Varia suit, a weaponized exoskeleton that became an extension of Samus, complete with a high-power arm cannon, missiles, shock coil, morph ball bombs, and a whole lot more. She's the ultimate weapon. After leaving Zebes, Samus briefly joined the Federation police, but quit to become a bounty hunter. Since that time, she's defeated alien overlords, her dark doppelganger, and even stopped an alien parasite plague. Yet, despite her immense capabilities, Samus has her fair share of vulnerabilities. Her susceptibility to extreme cold, a weakness evident in the freezing depths of Phendrana drifts, can be exploited by her adversaries. Additionally, her over-reliance on her power suit has been a double-edged sword, leaving her exposed when separated.
Not even 5 minutes into the video, and we already have a misunderstanding of Samus's power and vulnerabilities. If you knew anything, at the very least, about Metroid Dread, or Metroid Fusion, you wouldn't be saying this. The former game I just mentioned, giving Samus the gravity suit, which is a suit that protects Samus from things related to extremely low temperatures, as well as lava being high temperatures. In fact, as early as Metroid Fusion, she only needed the Varia suit, as that was enough to protect her from it. Clearly not getting a good impression of the research so far, but let's see if you can redeem yourself.
By her adversaries. Additionally, her over-reliance on her power suit has been a double-edged sword, leaving her exposed when separated from it, but allowing her to move with more agility. Samus has proven she can take on the biggest and baddest all across the galaxy. But does she have what it takes to overcome her opponent in tonight's main event?
Well, here's the thing, Versus Mode. With the lack of quantifiable feats you gave the audience, we don't know. All you said was that she killed a bunch of aliens and monsters, and that Samus got a cool power suit that protects her from certain elements. At best, you just gave us a couple of resistances she has. You never even said where her enemies scale for us to judge how powerful things like her AP and durability are. You never listed any notable hacks and abilities, from what I'm hearing thus far. Just saying she killed a bunch of big bad means nothing. A big alien with just the title alone, with no feats or statements to back it up, scales where? Below tiering.
Unrelenting, unforgiving, and driven by a rage that cannot be contained, the ancient and mystical time-traveling warrior has been to hell and brought it to its knees. He has no records and seems to vanish as quickly as he appears. The few witness accounts available detail a ruthless killer, returning to hell to slaughter the demons who flourish in its fires in an eternal battle. The Doomslayer is the epitome of, I'm not trapped down here with you, you're trapped down here with me. Her challenger is the one, the only, Doomslayer. Standing a towering 6 feet 8 inches tall and weighing in at a colossal 325 pounds.
7 feet with the armor, and 359 pounds according to the Doom Wiki.
He is a Goliath of pure, unadulterated power. Born in the bowels of the Union Aerospace Corporation facility on the planet of Mars, the Doomslayer's journey took a nightmarish turn for the worse when the forces of hell invaded. With everyone around him either dead or possessed by demons, the Doomslayer became humanity's last hope. Sworn to vengeance, he embarked on a one-man crusade against hell itself, leaving piles of bodies and trails of destruction in his wake. His history is soaked in blood and glory, while everyone else around him has met an untimely fate. He's faced and vanquished countless threats to humanity, from hell knights to cyber demons, and even the creator of the multiverse, the Dark Lord Lord. The Doomslayer is equipped with the Praetor suit and a fully stocked arsenal, including the super shotgun, plasma rifle, chainsaw, BFG 9000, fragmentation grenades, and much more. The Doomslayer is the ultimate demon-killing machine, but his intense hatred for the denizens of hell can sometimes make him reckless. This unbridled rage, while a source of power, can also be his downfall. Additionally, his tendency to act alone makes him susceptible to ambushes and overwhelming odds. But through it all, the Doomslayer's emerged victorious. So, how will he handle a super smart, super agile bounty hunter? We're about to...
Okay, so it also seems like you have no idea where either of these characters scale, because it's basically, for the most part at least, the same case like you did with Samus. You merely said he just killed big bad monsters and demons with no feats that scale him anywhere. While yes, you did mention he killed the creator of a multiverse, based on the lack of a cosmology explanation you provided, we have no idea where that scales. Is it a 40 multiverse? Low multi? 5D? 60? 70? We have no idea because you never elaborated on this at all, yet based on your description it seems like the Doomslayer would win, based on how little you provided for Samus, yet saying the one thing about the Doomslayer killing a multiversal threat.
It's the battle of the intergalactic space warriors. Both Samus Aran and the Doomslayer know what it's like to lose their homes by malevolent forces, setting the stage for their relentless mission for revenge. But who will be the last one standing? Strap in, folks. It's time to start Versus Mode!
It's just for animation's sake, but you gotta love the fact that this guy thinks Samus's rockets are enough to hurt the Slayer. Classic misunderstanding. Ain't no way with the horrible pre-fight analysis this guy gave thinks Samus would be able to physically overpower the Slayer like that. I can see the effort in this for sure, but for one, Samus would not just keep spamming those low level attacks after realizing even her missiles didn't work. And secondly, the Doomslayer would not swing his crucible like a guy who's barely had any training for eons of years. And thirdly, the Slayer's armor alone is immune to electrical damage according to lore. So while the grabbing and throwing the Slayer does kinda make sense, the electricity damaging him clearly doesn't. Oh boy, I can't wait to see what kind of explanation you have to give for the victor you chose.
The Doomslayer's out! Samus takes the win! What an explosive ending! It was bad luck for Samus right off the bat, crash landing on the Doomslayer's base, which almost led to her downfall. Her skillful use of her Morph Ball mode and tools to evade and disarm the Doomslayer proved to be a winning combination.
While in some respect I could see her being able to disable some of the Slayer's weapons, This wouldn't work against his so-called multiversal AP and durability you gave to him.
Thanks to cyber demons, and even the creator of the multiverse, the Dark Lord.
So how does this even hurt him, according to you?
He couldn't adapt as fast as Samus could act. Just look how easily Samus dodges the BFG and rips and tears the Crucible away like taking candy from a baby.
Adaptability, you say? Sure, Samus has adapted to her environment and the enemies she fought, but one, that's mostly because of her suit, and two, the Doomslayer can also adapt like this as well. Debatably even more so due to the amount of time he's had to adapt to the demons in Hell, the UAC, and Urdak. Yet there's also the fact that, one, he trained with the Night Sentinels, a warrior class debatably more advanced than the Federation, especially in terms of melee combat, and two, Samus is a bounty hunter, you say? Well, Doomslayer is no joke either when it comes to these titles. He was a former soldier in the military that disobeyed his commanding officer, and the Doomslayer has adapted to things across eons, meaning billions of years. So I don't know what you're trying to get at here. Not downplaying Samus here, but just saying that this doesn't make sense with the analysis you gave. And while you might be able to debate Samus being able to dodge Slayer's ranged weapons, there is no debate when it comes to stealing the Crucible according to your analysis, because Samus literally would not be strong enough to do that, let alone tank the Crucible like in the animation, and the Slayer is also the Unchained Predator in many other titles than just a bounty hunter.
His unmatched arsenal, indomitable strength, and relentless nature may work on the demons back on Mars, but Samus Aran has proved that she can stand up to even the most formidable of adversaries and come out on top as a true champion.
Okay, so that's pretty much the end of Versus Mode's video, basically stating that the final reason Samus wins is because Samus has fought big, formidable adversaries and come out on top, which I don't understand the reasoning behind why that's a win con, given the fact that he didn't even scale those adversaries anywhere. And two, that final point you just say can literally be said about the Slayer or another character who's not fodder or complete fodder. Now let's go over who actually wins and why. So let's go over Samus first. For one, Samus on the lower end of things has already been capable of destroying whole planets, already above anything Versus Mode scaled so far. Plus you also have the fact that she killed Dark Aether, who was mentioned in the video yet never scaled. Dark Aether could survive a whole universe collapsing on herself, and yet Samus killed her. And universes in Metroid are infinite in size, so infinite 3D AP, so far as some would say. Now for the highest known ends of Samus. The Chozo, a known enemy of Samus Aran, have been stated to transcend time and space, commonly known as a way of being fifth dimensional. You can also find a statement that says the Chozo view normal reality with 3D beings being a part of that, and 4D if you include time as one of those dimensions, as fragile. Samus, being a 5D being, should naturally also have immeasurable speed via transcending time, which is well above what Versus Mode explained in the video. As for hacks, she has a lot, so I'll just state the most notable, being Life Drain, which is literally in the name of the ability, and it can to an extent negate durability should an enemy be too strong, Precognition, Higher Dimensional Existence, and Statistics Amplification when enraged. Moving on to Doomslayer, right off the bat we have Doomslayer reaching at a low ball 5D AP/Dura via killing Devoth, the creator of the Doomverse, with health stating to transcend space and time, which would also give immeasurable speed to him, but there are also better ways to do this, like how in Doom 3 it's stated that cyber demons are an evil that transcends time and space, along with the fact that he can keep up with the Vadagrar, I think I'm pronouncing that right, in Quake 3 Revolution, who traveled across all of time and space to search for the greatest warriors. The Vadrigar are also elder gods, which are cosmic beings beyond time and space, and for those who will say these games aren't canon, yes they are. as id Software literally states this, and there are nods to Doom being a part of Quake's verse within the Quake 1 game itself when you play it.
Is Doom 3 part of the canon? Also, shoutouts to Doom 3 coming out for PlayStation VR at the end of the month. It is?
Yeah, Doom 3 is part of the canon.
Also, something to note is that the main base universe in Doom, when the Slayer was on Earth fighting the Icon of Sin, the Icon was stated to damage the implicate order of the universe. Just for a maybe not so quick explanation of it, is Bohm's implicate order is Bohm's simplest interpretation of Bohm's hidden variable interpretation, both of which are meant to explain the Schrödinger equation, the base mathematical formula for all wave functions as a result from the Hilbert space. And Bohmian mechanics are a part of Bohm's implicate order, and in Bohm's mechanics, mere particles contain quantum mechanics and wave functions. Yeah, that's a lot. Here's even more. Let's go over the statements in Doom about this. The patterns for hell growth are chaotic. Chaotic patterns are one of the 5 principles of chaos theory. Also, since this universe expands into the fabric of existence like fractal patterns, another one of the 5 principles of chaos theory, and are the very image of chaos theory being infinite dimensional and having infinite dimensional maps, which contain Schrödinger's equations, which again proves quantum physics. And fractals repeat within themselves, meaning if you zoom in, you see another universe, and if you zoom in more, another universe. And this has no end, and universes get dwarfed by the ones they're contained in, so practically universes are an infinite hierarchy of high 1B universes, aka high hyperversal on the Versus Wiki. I'm not going over anymore because it gets really complex, but if you want to know more, look at DJ Gaming's video on the topic. Also, this means Doomslayer, without getting much more complicated, can be high 1B to low outer, considering there's also a scan of hell being metaphysical, which would be above its scaling with the implicate order. I also want to debunk something I commonly see people try to use to debunk hell being beyond space and time, where people say hell clearly is bounded by it due to having ages, like in the first age and the first battle. Things like that. Well, here's the thing. If you're beyond/transcend space and time, then the age is irrelevant. Being born is not a connotation of being bounded by time because it's your mother and father who will create you, which isn't necessarily a time-bounded thing. Age is just a number of years you have lived. You can measure a length of time you existed without being bounded to it. For example, if we discover a 5D area beyond space-time, we can still measure how long we have known the said dimension and place to have a number on it without it being bounded to a 4D space-time. Age doesn't necessarily have to be a thing bounded by dimensional boundaries. We can make logical deductions and utilize Occam's razor to say it's just the length of period you've been around, and not proof you have space-time bondage. In regards to the actual arguments people give in favor of the matchup itself, are things like Doomslayer doesn't have a counter for precognition, and that his ranged weapons don't scale to his physicals. Firstly, Doomslayer does have precognition, as what's stated that the makers watch over an infinite amount of timelines. And before you argue that it's just through time travel, one, I don't remember anything time travel related that can make you casually watch over an infinite amount of timelines. I just don't see it. And secondly, if you scale the makers to the cosmology, they have immeasurable speed, so the first counter argument casually flies out the window. And Doomslayer, as we know, killed the Con Maker. And you also have the fact that he killed Devoth, who as a mere sphere still had a massive amount of rain and sight over the verse, and that's just as a sphere, not even the full power stuff. Now for the second argument, I mostly see people run back to Doom 2016 and pull stuff like Samuel Hayden saying, your affinity for guns is apparent.
Your affinity for guns is apparent. I'm confident you'll find something useful there as well. The service elevator is at the end of the hall.
With the people who use that thinking it's a way of hate and saying the Slayer just uses ranged weapons because he likes them. When, one, just because he says he likes the weapons doesn't mean they don't scale to his AP based on the statement alone. And two, this is stuff from Doom 2016 that was clearly retconned in Eternal. Hugo Martin literally goes on to say that the Slayer can enhance his weapon's powers.
Slayer can absorb strength from his fallen enemies. So has he absorbed the ability to empower his weapons from the 2016 quad damage demon, UI Theranax? I don't know how to say that. And does he use his ability at will so he can use his arsenal to fight ridiculous strong bosses? So the question is he absorbing strength from the fallen enemies?
I mean, that was in the fiction in 2016.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I think he does. I mean, you know, as much as it makes, I guess, fictional sense, but yeah.
Right. But you got to balance the game, right? You can't just be like, this is quad, that's quad, this is quad, thank you for all the energy, and done.
Exactly.
Which will be a way of scaling them to his AP, which is represented as quad damage. In the game, this is consistent with Devoth, as he enhances demons to make them more powerful. And it's even stated that he can put his essence into things, and the Slayer is also no stranger to absorbing the power of his fallen foes. He even agrees with Josh's statements and confirms that the Slayer's power level is balanced for gameplay. The Cyber Demon and Baron of Hell are literally cursed by Devoth. The Divinity Machine uses Devoth's essence to create Marauders and enhance them. Battle Mode demons are stated to be enhanced and much stronger than regular demons. All that in mind, the other thing is that the Doomslayer doesn't even need weapons at all. He doesn't even have to get close to Samus due to one ability he has. Passive Fate Manipulation. Something that Samus has no resistance to, nor does she have as an ability. Devoth blessed Doomguy, making it so his existence in him, causing the destruction to the Makers, was considered the only constant within infinite possibilities. Unchanged by the flowing data of endless variability, despite the Makers' ability to travel through dimensions and time, causing Doomguy's victory in the end no matter what happens. Oh yeah, and this should also give him resistance to said ability, being Devoth blessing him. And here's another thing people try to use to debunk Doom's cosmology to 4D or below, which I'll debunk after I show what it is. The icon of sin is stated to warp reality into hell, and that hell allows space and time to enter it, basically contradicting that it's above space and time, and because Doomslayer is bounded by gravity, he's even lower than 4D since gravity encompasses 4D. The debunk for this is, 1. Gravity is the curvature of space-time regardless of dimensionality, so this debunk is just rooted in ignorance. 2. The icon being summoned into hell doesn't mean it started to warp the space-time of hell. 3. Space-time warping in Hell and Urdak doesn't degrade them at all, as dimensionality even past Aleph 1 won't change the existence of gravity. Hell was Jakad before, an ordinary universe. It is Devoth's essence, rage, and power that makes Hell what it is. So it is basically a universe pre-mated and suffused with outerversal power. Why would Hell bother preventing space-time from warping when it doesn't matter to it at all? Heck, in Doom 2016 itself, we see that Hell literally doesn't give a care in the world about gravity when it wants to, as the entire section of Hell that the game takes place in is floating above an endless sea of nothingness. This is like an anti-feat, but with the character not being affected and not bothering to stop something that doesn't matter to him. I don't need to go on any further, but in short, Doomslayer absolutely crushes Samus beyond any concept of difficulty, and I don't know why this is still a debate in 2024. As for Versus Mode, not a very great video. However, I see their potential, and the animation was still pretty good in spite of the drawbacks, and I hope they see this video because I think they downplayed two very great characters.